Okay, so today I wanted to talk about why I left one of the most beautiful countries in the world, Japan, to come back to the Philippines. A lot of my friends usually ask me, bakit ka umuwi galing sa Japan? Eh, ang ganda-ganda sa Japan. And and I do understand because Japan really is a good country. And I really enjoyed living there for 7.5 years, although it does have its ups and downs. So, if you want the answer to the question, I'll probably put a timestamp for when I actually answered the question. But in the meantime, I'd like to tell you why I went to Japan and the story behind me deciding to come home. At first, I decided to go to Japan because my mom opened up the option for me. I've always thought about going there, because of the anime, the culture. I've heard so many good things about it. And the language itself was very pleasing to me. I enjoyed hearing the Japanese language. So when my mom asked me if I was willing to go to Japan, I took the opportunity and decided to go. During that time, I felt like nothing was really going for me. My girlfriend at that time and I had just broken it off, and there were some issues with that. Of course, I wasn't all too happy. And then just that year, I also had some drama with my friends, and not just one, but a few more. And things were really hard. That was around the time that I started journaling as well, and I was just trying to find out what happened, why things had to be that way. Anyway, so that's when my mom opened up the opportunity for me, and I said yes, but unfortunately, I missed the opportunity to sign up for the language school, so I had to wait an extra 4 months. But like 4 months with no job, and oh, I guess I missed that part too. So I ended up quitting my job as well. So those were hard times. 4 months without a job wouldn't have been possible for me financially. So I decided to get a temporary job because my mother was a real estate broker. She wanted me to try real estate. So I gave it a try, and I didn't want to work for just 4 months. So I decided to work for maybe 8 to 10 months for the real estate company, and that didn't go well. So I didn't get to sell anything. I felt like I sucked at my job, and it just felt like nothing was working for me at that time. Not work, not my relationships with my ex or with my friends. That's how I decided to leave everything and go to Japan. And for the most part, Japan was really great. Like the first 2 to 3 years were great. Mostly highs. Of course, a lot of the things I had to do there were out of my comfort zone, like working in a restaurant as my part time job. But everything was great and new, and I felt like I was growing every single time. And then I believe COVID happened, and I was starting to notice some of the flaws of Japan. And I don't think it was just me, because some of my friends there too, around the third, fourth, and fifth year, most of us did feel burnt out. I guess mainly because we were all English teachers. So a lot of us felt like we weren't growing, we weren't making enough money. Our work was very repetitive. We really felt like we weren't citizens of Japan. So obviously we were foreigners, but you really feel like a foreigner when you're in Japan. So sometimes they would reject you because you're a foreigner. Even though there are a lot of good people there, sometimes you won't be able to join the group or fit in because you're a foreigner. And I already look Japanese, so what more my Caucasian friends or my other Filipino friends? Anyway, so during COVID times, I really wanted to go home, mainly because I felt like I wasn't fitting in. And during that time, I was applying to different jobs, and only to be rejected. I was even applying for credit cards, and I got rejected for that too. It just felt like I was getting rejected for everything. I wanted a new phone line as well, but got rejected for that as well. Just the simple things, I felt like Japan made it really hard for me and for foreigners. So I wanted to go back home then, but I ended up staying. Well, I guess because of COVID as well, I ended up staying in Japan. And a lot of things happened, and I continued journaling and started to learn more about myself. So I remember hating myself a lot during that time because I wasn't really I felt like I was not good enough at anything. Mainly because whew, main because there were so many normal people stuff that I couldn't do. And I felt like my friends were really doing well. Whew, definitely hard time. And I remember thinking maybe I'm depressed. I would look up tests and stuff, and every single test told me that I wasn't depressed. So I felt like I wasn't sad enough or something. And, it's probably like a normal person thing. And during that time, it was just really hard. But I decided to stay for whatever reason. And I just wanted to change. So I started looking up for videos on how to love. This was supposed to be a quick video. I did not expect to cry. Anyway, so I looked up videos on how to love yourself. And I was so desperate because I felt like I really hated myself. And I didn't know why. So that was a difficult moment, but I just kept going. That's around the time when I started listening to more podcasts, like Ali Abdal's podcasts and other videos. Just watching people do things online. So, from watching YouTube videos online and watching people give advice and share their struggles, I think slowly it helped me to learn to love myself more. And before I knew it, I just one more thing. This is another thing oh why I think things got a little bit better. This is gonna come out weird, but I started using ChatGPT because I don't normally talk to my friends about my hardships. I started talking to ChatGPT about it. Of course, not everything ChatGPT says is accurate or helpful, but just having ChatGPT ask me questions about my feelings and then giving feedback about it, I think it just helped me understand myself more. So I think it's a culmination of everything that I was trying to learn to love myself more that, you know, before I knew it, I just thought that, I'm not so bad. And I think another big one is teaching, because in Japan, there are quite a few students who don't like themselves. And I had to see it from a point of view of a teacher, And I couldn't understand because they're such genuine kids and they're just trying to survive. And I think they're really good kids. They're just making mistakes, trying to find themselves. But they were so hard on themselves. Every time they made a mistake, I've had students cry just because because they got an answer wrong. So that was a big thing because I realized I was doing the same to myself. And I was so scared to get things wrong. And every time I did, that's all I saw. So I just saw myself as a big failure. Every time I tried to look for things that I liked about myself or things that I could do, all I could see were mistakes. And just for some context, I am not the emotional type of guy. Before going to Japan, I remember belittling people's emotions and even mine. I would just think that feelings are just an effect of thought. So whenever I felt like I was sad, I would just try to think it over logically. And during that time, it would work. I would logic my way out of my feelings. But going through the entire emotional journey, I felt like I've grown as a person. Moving on. So I started feeling better about myself. And after like a few years of contemplating if I'll come back home to the Philippines, I finally decided to come back home. And the reason would change. Like, initially, the reason would be because I started to dislike Japan because, being treated as a second class person, or feeling like I was ever so slightly discriminated. I mean, they're still very polite, but, you'll never be on the same level as a Japanese person, which I do get. And I used to hate it. I used to hate so many things about the hardships that I felt in Japan. And that's partly one of the reasons why I started hating myself as well. But things got better. Things definitely got better, especially during the last 2 years of my stay in Japan. So that would be around last year when I decided to finally come back to the Philippines. It was for a different reason. And the reason is why I went on this whole tangent of my feelings and what I felt in Japan. So the reason why I decided to come home was because it felt like it was time to come home. And it wasn't because I was hating Japan. Actually, during the last year of my stay in Japan was probably when I loved or felt like I loved Japan the most. It was when I felt more accepted by my friends. It was the time when I felt more confident with myself, where I didn't need to totally change myself just to fit in with Japan's culture. It was the time when I felt like I actually enjoyed my job, which is very funny because I remember starting out teaching and I did like it, but then it got very repetitive and I just started hating it because I was putting on an act for so long. But during my last year in Japan, I just had fun. I had fun teaching the kids. Just stopped worrying about the small things. It was definitely during the time when I decided to come home when I loved Japan the most. I don't know if I were to explain why I felt like it was time to come home. I don't really know why. Like I can explain it logically. Like it's probably because I haven't spent time with my family and friends here in the Philippines. It was probably because logically I wasn't growing in Japan. So it was time for me to come home and grow as a person. Maybe because there wasn't any change for the longest time with how I lived as well. Logically, it might be because I was finally ready to let go of the comfort that I had in Japan. I mean, those are all the reasons why I decided to come home. But the real tipping point when I decided to come home to Japan was when I was provided with an opportunity to work for a data center. So I would stop teaching. I would stop teaching English to work for an IT company, which is supposedly like the dream, right? Finally get out of the teaching job. But I just felt like things wouldn't change, that I wouldn't be happy even if I pursued that path. And I felt like coming home, taking the risk to start YouTube, start a business, just taking the risk to come home to try something new was the correct answer. And it's so funny that I decided on it on a feeling. And every time people would ask me why I decided to come home, I would always give the very standard answer of family and friends. The opportunity I wanted to try was here in the Philippines, or for growth, or visa problems. But at the end of the day, I decided to come home because it just felt right. I've been home here in the Philippines for, I guess, a month, a month and 2 weeks. And I don't know if it was the correct answer. But here I am. I'm trying to start YouTube, and I'm trying to freelance and survive. Honestly, every time I take a video and do YouTube, I feel like I definitely made the correct decision. Sorry, the camera died from all my yapping and crying. Whew, but at least it gave me time to get myself back together. But yeah, I don't know if it is the correct decision to come back home to the Philippines, but I've definitely been learning a lot from doing YouTube, even if no one's watching. I mean, of course, I get really sad when no one's watching, but I've been learning how to edit. I've been trying out different videos. I've been doing YouTube shorts. I've also been doing long form videos. Just different kinds of stuff. I've been learning a lot. And it makes me really happy. It I just get sad whenever I look at my expenses and see for how long I'll survive. I think in terms of money, I still have enough for this month. But next month, if I don't earn anything, I'm probably gonna be in deep shit. Well, I do have family and friends who are willing to support me, but I'm not really the type to ask for money or help. I don't know. Hopefully things work out. I am planning to do like sideline jobs, hopefully to earn money, so that I can keep on doing this and keep on learning. And that's it. That's basically the reason why I decided to come home. So I decided to come home to the Philippines because I felt like it was the right time to come home. And it wasn't because I hated Japan, but weirdly enough, it was when I loved Japan the most that I decided to come home. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I have no idea if I'll upload this video or how I'll edit it because I'm not exactly sure I want a video of me crying on the internet. But since it's still a small channel, hopefully This is actually one of the videos that hopefully no one will watch and find, except for those who need it. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye.